Have you ever had a moment when someone else's words or actions seemed to ruin your entire day? Maybe it was an unkind comment, something inconsiderate someone did, or simply an unexpected setback. This can feel really frustrating, right? But here's the important truth. No one can control how you feel unless you allow them to. What if you could stay calm and peaceful no matter what is happening around you? Imagine going through the day with such a deep peace that even the most annoying moments wouldn't shake you. This is not just a dream, but something you can learn. In today's lesson, we'll explore 10 powerful ideas that can help you stop reacting on the spot, let go of your anger, and take back control of your emotions. These ideas aren't about ignoring your emotions or pretending things don't bother you. Rather, it's about developing the mental strength to overcome life's challenges with calm and understanding. Whether it's dealing with criticism, learning to set healthy boundaries, or letting go of past hurts, you'll find simple but effective ways to maintain your peace and feel more confident. By the end of this session, you will have the mindset and tools to remain calm even when things feel difficult. So if you're ready to learn how to take control of your emotions and stop letting others influence you, then let's dive in. Your path to emotional freedom begins now. 1. Understand that your reactions are your choice. Take control of your emotions. The power to choose. Imagine this. You are enjoying a peaceful moment, perhaps sipping your favorite coffee or taking a relaxing walk through the park. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and life feels good. But then out of nowhere, someone says something rude or thoughtless. Suddenly the calm is gone, and you feel a rush of anger or frustration. Why did they ruin my day, you might think. But the truth is, it wasn't the one who ruined your day. That was you. It is your feelings, your reactions, and ultimately your responsibility to decide how you feel. No one can make you feel anything if you don't let them. It's easy to believe that our feelings are controlled by external events, especially when someone says something hurtful or when something doesn't go as planned. But in reality, we always have the power to choose how we respond. Imagine for a moment that you are wearing noise-canceling headphones while walking through a busy city. The noise of honking cars and loud conversations is still there. It hasn't gone away, but it doesn't affect you. This makes it easy for you to focus on your peace, no matter what is happening around you. Your emotions work the same way. The world may be full of distractions, criticism, and challenges, but you don't have to let them disturb your inner peace. You have the power to tune out this noise and decide how you want to respond to it. The space between stimulus and response, your moment of power. A wise saying goes, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. This space is crucial. It's that brief moment of pause when something happens, be it someone cutting you off in traffic or an unfair comment at work. And you have the choice to react or respond. It's tempting to blame others for our feelings. When someone criticizes your work, it's easy to feel hurt or angry. But what if instead of reacting immediately, you paused for a moment? This break is where you take back your power. You decide whether you let your feelings guide you or whether you react with calm, understanding, and wisdom. This simple pause is where true growth occurs. When you choose a thoughtful response rather than a knee-jerk reaction, you become stronger and more resilient. You realize that you are in control and that you don't have to let the behavior of others dictate your emotional state. A practical example, transforming conflict into clarity. Let's apply this to a real scenario. Imagine you're sitting in a meeting at work and your colleague rejects your idea in front of everyone. That hurts, right? Your first instinct might be to fight back or wallow in frustration. You may feel your anger building up and ask yourself, how dare they treat me like this? But instead of letting those feelings guide you, take a step back, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this about me, or is this person just having a hard day? Maybe she's stressed or she has her own biases that she hasn't yet processed. By asking yourself these questions, you separate the situation from your feelings. This isn't about suppressing your feelings, but rather understanding that your feelings are just that, feelings. They are temporary, and they do not have to control you. Anger, frustration, and disappointment are completely natural feelings, but they don't have to dictate your actions. By choosing how to respond, you remain in control of your peace. You do not allow another person's behavior to cloud your judgment or deprive you of a sense of calm. In this moment of clarity, you decide how to respond in a way that is consistent with your values and long-term peace. A simple strategy for controlling your emotions. Let's break this down into simple steps you can practice every day. Pause and identify. When you feel triggered, pause. Don't react immediately. Take a deep breath and name the emotion you are feeling: fear, frustration, sadness. This step breaks the automatic response cycle and gives you space to think. Ask yourself why. Think about why you feel the way you feel. Is it because of something that happened, or is it more a matter of how you interpret the situation? Is there something within you that needs healing? Understanding the reason for your feelings will help you separate the event from your personal beliefs or past experiences. Choose your reaction. Now that you have identified and reflected on your feelings, it is time to make a decision. What do you want to do next? How will you respond based on your values and long-term peace, not just in the heat of the moment? You can choose to approach the situation calmly or let it go entirely because you know it doesn't deserve your energy. Imagine a life of freedom and peace. Imagine the freedom to go through life without being disturbed by the actions of others. The rude stranger who cuts in front of you in line, that doesn't bother you. The colleague who makes a thoughtless comment, this won't fall on your feet. The little inconveniences that throw others into a spiral of stress, they just let it happen. When you take control of your reactions, all of these external forces lose their influence on you. You no longer allow other people's behavior to dictate your feelings. They choose peace over chaos, calm over impulsive reactions. You take back your power and protect your emotional well-being, no matter what life throws at you. The next time someone tries to antagonize you, remember, it's not the other person's actions that you control. Your reaction does. By choosing calm, you not only maintain emotional control, but you also open the path to true freedom, the freedom to live in peace no matter what is happening around you. 2. Stop expecting others to behave like you. Letting go of expectations, finding peace in acceptance. Imagine this. You were there for someone, supported them, were a good friend, always reliable when they needed help. But when it's your turn to need something, he's not there. You feel the disappointment wash over you and thoughts like, how could they be so inconsiderate? I would never treat them like that. That's frustrating, isn't it? But here's the hard truth. People don't conform to your standards. They have their own beliefs, experiences, and priorities that shape their behavior. Expecting them to act and think the same way you do is like trying to control the weather. It's simply impossible. It only leads to frustration when we try to force others into our expectations of how they should behave. Think of it this way. Every person goes their own way. Their path is shaped by their own life experiences, their upbringing, their beliefs, and the decisions they have made. So when someone does something that upsets or hurts you, it's important to remember that it's often not your fault. It is a reflection of the person. When you expect others to behave a certain way, you are essentially trying to control something that is beyond your reach. This leaves you feeling powerless and stressed. The answer is not to try to change or control their behavior. Instead, it's about accepting them as they are, with all their flaws, and keeping your peace by letting go of those expectations. The power of acceptance. A real-world example. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine you have a colleague who constantly interrupts you in meetings. He stops you mid-sentence, and before you know it, the conversation is no longer focused on your ideas, but on the other person's. That's frustrating, isn't it? Your first instinct might be to get annoyed or even try to teach them a lesson about being considerate. But what if, instead of getting upset, you stopped for a moment and realized that their behavior has nothing to do with you? Maybe they've always been like this, or maybe they feel insecure and interrupt to assert themselves. Whatever the reason, it's about them, not you. By giving up the expectation that they will change, You free yourself from unnecessary emotional turmoil. You stop carrying around this frustration, and when you stop expecting others to behave to meet your standards, you protect your peace. As a wise saying goes, expectations are the root of all suffering. The less you expect others to behave a certain way, the less disappointment you will feel, and the more peace you will create for yourself. A practical exercise for letting go of expectations. If this idea is difficult for you, here is a simple exercise to try to help you change your mindset. Acknowledge your assumptions. When someone upsets you, stop and ask yourself, what did I expect from them? Sometimes we get so wrapped up in our own expectations that we don't realize that we've set a bar for others that they don't even know exists. Question this expectation. Once you've identified your expectation, consider whether it's realistic to expect someone else to behave exactly like you. Could there be other reasons for his behavior, reasons you haven't considered? This is a good time to shift your focus from trying to control the other person's behavior to focusing on how you can respond in a way that keeps your peace. Letting go of the need for control. Instead of fighting reality, let go of the need to change someone else. Focus on what you can control, your own emotions and your own reactions. You will find that the less you expect from others, the more you free yourself from unnecessary stress and disappointment. Freedom through acceptance. Think about how liberating this attitude can be. Imagine going through a life where the rude stranger, the forgetful friend, or the inconsiderate co-worker no longer have the power to disturb your peace. Your actions will not affect your feelings unless you allow them to. When you stop expecting others to meet your personal standards, you take back control of your reactions. You no longer allow your behavior to dictate how you feel or how you act. Accepting that people are as they are and not as you would like them to be does not mean that you tolerate bad behavior or abandon your values. It just means that you acknowledge that you cannot control what others do. You have the power to choose how you respond to their actions, and that is where your peace lies. By letting go of these expectations, you protect your emotional well-being. The power of letting go, a new way to respond. The next time you're disappointed or frustrated by someone, take a moment to pause and remember. They're acting out of their nature, not mine, and that's okay. Your actions do not define you, your reaction does. When you let go of expectations, you regain control, not only of your reactions, but also of your peace. You no longer carry the emotional burden of wanting to change others. Instead, you move freely, unencumbered by their actions and empowered by your ability to choose your response. Therein lies true freedom, in letting go of what you cannot control and protecting the peace that is yours. 3. Let go of the need to always be right. The fight to be right, letting go for peace. Think about the last time you had an argument. Maybe it was about a small thing, e.g. B. The question of which route will get you to your destination faster, or it was about something more important, e.g. B, a disagreement with a close friend or partner. As the conversation became more heated, did you feel a strong urge to prove your point, to show the other person that you were right? A feeling that many of us know. We cling to our version of the truth as if it was something we cannot live without. But the reality is this: the desperate need to always be right is exhausting, and believe it or not, unnecessary. The need to win every argument or prove your point has nothing to do with the actual issue, but often something deeper. It has to do with uncertainty. We feel like our self-image, value, or identity is threatened when we are wrong. But imagine for a moment if you could completely let go of that need. What if you approach disagreements not with defensiveness but with curiosity? What if instead of trying to win, you just wanted to understand? An important question to ask yourself in any argument is this: would you rather be right or live in peace? Most of the time, clinging to the need to be right only creates tension, damages relationships, and leads to frustration. However, when you let go of the need to prove yourself, you open the door to maintaining your peace and having more meaningful conversations. Choosing peace over pride, a shift in perspective. Now imagine a situation in which someone accuses you of something that you know is unfair. Your first instinct might be to go into defense mode, argue your point, or point out the other person's mistakes in return. But instead of letting that instinct guide you, ask yourself, is it really worth my energy to prove them wrong? Will this argument change something important in my life? In many cases, the answer will be no. Most arguments will not change the course of your life or accomplish anything important. Often it's just small moments when your pride gets in the way of your peace. For example, let's say a friend insists that his way of solving a particular problem is better than yours. Instead of engaging in a debate, try saying something like, "I know where you're coming from and I respect your perspective." In this way, you not only diffuse the tension, but also maintain your calm. You avoid unnecessary conflict while preserving your emotional energy. Lao Tzu, the Taoist philosopher, once shared a timeless wisdom. Those who hold on to their beliefs will never grow. This means that clinging to the need to be right can actually limit your personal growth. Letting go of this need doesn't mean giving up your principles or staying quiet when it matters most. It just means that you recognize that you don't have to emerge victorious in every disagreement. Sometimes peace is the greater gain. Practical steps to let go of the need to be right. If you want to start practicing this mindset, here are a few simple steps you can try. Pause before answering. When you feel the urge to argue, take a deep breath. Think for a moment if it's worth your energy. Does this argument add value to the situation, or does it just cause unnecessary stress? By pausing, you give yourself time to decide how you want to respond thoughtfully. Understanding instead of winning. Instead of focusing on proving your point, try asking questions to understand the other person's perspective. This approach often helps de-escalate the conflict and allows you to engage in a conversation rather than a fight. By seeking to understand, you create space for empathy and connection, which is far more valuable than winning an argument. Pick your battles. Not every disagreement is worth engaging in. Save your energy for the important ones, i.e., those that align with your values or influence important outcomes. Many conflicts are based on trivial differences or personal preferences and do not have to drain you. By saving your energy for the important moments, you ensure that you focus on what really matters. The freedom of letting go. If you practice these steps, you will notice a big difference. Letting go of the need to always be right will bring you great freedom. You will feel lighter and calmer because you are no longer trying to control every conversation or prove every point. Arguments will no longer have a firm grip on your emotions. Instead, you have chosen peace over pride, and this change creates space for meaningful, open-hearted exchange. Remember that your worth is not determined by your ability to win debates or prove how smart you are. The true value lies in how you behave, how you protect your energy, and how you maintain your inner peace even when the world around you is full of chaos. Next time you're tempted to get into an argument, take a moment to pause and remember, being right doesn't make me happy, but being calm does. When you choose peace over pride, you will experience the true power of letting go, not having to be right, and instead creating space for understanding and connection. Fourth, don't let other people's words define your worth. The power of words. Protect your inner value. Imagine this. You're sitting with a group of people and enthusiastically talking about an idea that's close to your heart, something that you've worked hard on and that you really believe in. Your heart races with enthusiasm as you speak, but then just as you get to the good part, someone interrupts you with a derogatory or sarcastic comment. The words cut through you like a knife, and suddenly the confidence you felt vanishes. You begin to doubt yourself, and your excitement gives way to unease. Why does something like this happen? Because sometimes we allow other people's words to dictate how we see ourselves. But here's the truth. Your value is not determined by someone else's opinion. It doesn't matter whether someone praises you or criticizes you. Their value is intrinsic. It comes from who you are, and not from what others think of you. When you rely on outside validation, whether it's compliments or criticism, you give away your emotional power. You are handing over remote control of your happiness to someone else. True emotional freedom comes when you realize that you have the power to define your own worth. Detach your value from the opinions of others. Let's think about a situation that many of us can relate to. Imagine this. A colleague criticizes your work. He doesn't give you constructive feedback, but instead attacks your work in a harsh or personal way. Immediately you feel a flood of emotions, frustration, sadness, maybe even shame. Your instinct might be to defend yourself or to shy away. But what if, instead of reacting immediately, you paused and remembered, your words reflect their perspective, not my value? The truth is, when you stop letting other people's opinions affect how you see yourself, you keep your peace and focus on what really matters. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius expressed this perfectly when he said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." This is a powerful reminder that we often value the thoughts and judgments of others more than our own self-esteem. However, the key to emotional freedom is realizing that your worth is independent of what others think. This doesn't mean you should ignore feedback or reject constructive criticism. It just means that you should filter out the negativity that doesn't benefit you. Constructive criticism helps you grow, but unwarranted negativity has no place in your head or your heart. Steps to take back your power and keep your peace. So how can you stop letting other people's words define your worth? Here are some simple but effective steps. Pause before reacting. When someone else's words are hurtful, it's easy to react immediately. But if you take a breath before you react, you will give yourself the space you need to decide how you want to respond thoughtfully. Instead of immediately becoming defensive or insecure, this pause will help you regain control of your emotions. Separate facts from opinions. Ask yourself, is there any truth to what the other person is saying, or is it just their opinion? Often people speak from their own biases, frustrations, or experiences, and their words do not reflect who they are. Focus on what is useful for your growth and leave out the rest. Affirm your worth. Take a moment to remember that your worth does not depend on the approval of others. Your value comes from within you. You don't need outside validation to know that you are enough. Another profound piece of wisdom comes from Lao Tzu, who said, "Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner." It's not about ignoring other people's opinions. It's about not letting their opinions dictate how you feel about yourself. When you stop caring about opinions that don't get you anywhere, you free yourself from unnecessary emotional baggage. A life with authenticity and self-confidence. Imagine a life where you no longer allow other people's words to shake your self-confidence. Every time someone tries to question your confidence or criticize your work, stop and think, am I allowing this to define me, or can I focus on what I know to be true about me? In this moment, you take back control. You remind yourself that no one can diminish your value with their words unless you let them. True strength lies not in avoiding criticism, but in knowing your worth regardless of what others say. When you decouple your worth from the opinions of others, you create space for your authentic self to shine. You allow your self-confidence to blossom because you no longer allow yourself to be influenced by every external influence. This peace and authenticity are yours, and they are a life that no one can take away from you. When you stop letting other people's words define you, you step into your true power, and that means freedom. 5. Protect your energy by setting boundaries. The power of saying no. Protect your peace. Imagine this scenario. You're in the middle of a busy day, juggling your tasks when your phone rings. It's a friend asking you for help with something that, honestly, they could probably do themselves. Or maybe it's a colleague who throws a task at you at the last minute and expects you to say yes without hesitation. You feel the weight of obligation bearing down on you, and with that weight comes your frustration. Why is it so difficult to say no? Why do you find it so difficult to protect your time and energy when someone else asks you for help? The answer is simple. To protect your peace, you need to set boundaries. And the most important thing is, Boundaries are not selfish. They are even necessary for your well-being. Without boundaries, you allow others to control your time, energy, and emotional health. Saying yes to everyone else often means saying no to yourself, and over time, this imbalance can lead to burnout, resentment, and a loss of connection to your own needs. Think of it this way: you can't pour from an empty cup. If you constantly give and help others without taking care of yourself first, you will run out of the energy you need to do what matters most to you. By setting boundaries, you not only protect your time, but also your emotional freedom. Boundaries allow you to maintain healthy relationships by giving you the space to care for yourself. When you say no with your own needs in mind, you can better advocate for the people you care about. The importance of clear boundaries. Let's take a moment to think about this. If someone crosses your boundaries, it's not necessarily their fault. Often it's because you haven't clearly communicated what those boundaries are. Remember that people are not mind readers. They can't know what you're willing to tolerate unless you tell them. If you don't make your boundaries clear, people will continue to push, usually without realizing the impact it is having on you. Setting clear boundaries isn't just a way to protect your peace. It's an act of self-respect. And by doing that, you teach others to respect you too. Imagine being the person your friends always turn to for advice, often late into the night. You want to be there for them because you care about them, but that's draining you. You feel exhausted and overwhelmed. But instead of silently resenting them, you could say, "You're important to me, but I need to take the evenings off to recover. Let's talk tomorrow instead." This answer is tough but kind, and it allows you to keep your peace without damaging your relationship. By setting this boundary, you show your friends that you value yourself and your time, and you show them how to respect these boundaries in the future. Epictetus, a famous philosopher, once said, "Freedom is the ability to live as we want." Living freely does not mean ignoring the needs of others, but rather acknowledging that your energy is valuable and choosing where it is best spent. Boundaries let you choose your priorities and prevent you from giving more than you can handle. When you can say no clearly and confidently, you protect your peace and conserve your energy for the things that really matter. How to set boundaries with confidence. Now that you know the importance of boundaries, here's how to set them effectively. Be clear and sincere. The first step to setting healthy boundaries is to communicate your boundaries calmly and directly. When you clearly state your needs, others are more likely to respect them. If you need time to focus on your own tasks, say it in an honest but respectful way. Setting clear expectations will help avoid confusion and frustration as a result. Use I statements. When communicating your boundaries, you should focus on your needs rather than blaming or criticizing others. Using I statements helps move the conversation from a defensive tone to a more understanding one. For example, instead of saying, "You keep interrupting me," you should say, "I need some quiet time after work to concentrate." This approach is more likely to be received positively and shows that you are taking responsibility for your own needs. Stick to your limits. Once you have set a boundary, it is important that you stick to it. Consistency is key when it comes to teaching others to respect your boundaries. If you're wishy-washy about your boundaries, people will be confused about what's acceptable and what's not. By standing firm, you show that you are serious about protecting your time and energy. As the philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "The one who knows when to stop doesn't get into trouble." This wisdom reminds us that recognizing and respecting our limitations is crucial to maintaining balance in our lives. When we ignore our boundaries, we expose ourselves to unnecessary stress and frustration, but when we respect them, we protect our peace and well-being. The freedom of borders. The beauty of boundaries is that they are not walls that exclude other people, but rather bridges that create healthier, more balanced relationships. When you set clear boundaries, you not only protect yourself, but you also show others how to respect your time and energy. Next time you feel overwhelmed or like you're being taken for granted, stop and ask yourself, have I clearly expressed my needs? Am I sticking to my own boundaries? By setting boundaries, you free yourself from unnecessary obligations and regain your energy for what really matters to you. Remember that it is not your job to care about other people's feelings or solve their problems. You are primarily responsible for yourself, for your peace, your time, and your emotional well-being. When you prioritize yourself and set healthy boundaries, you feel lighter, more in control, and more able to present yourself to the world as the best version of yourself. Sixth, detach yourself from other people's opinions. The power to not look for recognition. Picture this. You're enthusiastically sharing an idea with a group of people, something you've worked hard on and are proud of. They expect a smile, a nod, or even just a few words of encouragement. Instead, you get criticism, indifference, or worse, a blank stare. That hurts, doesn't it? This moment of disappointment can quickly turn into self-doubt. You start to question yourself. Was my idea not good enough? Am I not smart enough? But here's an important question to ask yourself. Why does their opinion carry so much weight? The truth is that the need for approval from others is something many of us struggle with. It's natural to want to be accepted and validated, but relying on outside validation is like chasing shadows. It's something you can never truly control. You cannot live your life based on the ever-changing opinions of others. Emotional freedom begins the moment you stop letting the approval or criticism of others determine your worth. Think of it this way. Each person looks at the world through their own lens. This lens is shaped by his experiences, his insecurities, and his prejudices. So when someone judges you or expresses their opinion about something that is important to you, it often says more about their perspective than it does about you. When you internalize their opinions, you allow them to control how you feel, think, and even what you do. But why should you let someone else dictate your story? You are the author of your own life, and your worth does not depend on the approval of others. Your value is unshakable. An important thought to remember, your value is not up for debate. It does not depend on the praise or criticism of others, but is an integral, deep part of you. Your value is intrinsic and is not shaken by what others say or think. Picture this. You're wearing a brand new outfit that you absolutely love. You feel confident and excited, and you go to work with a smile. But then a colleague casually remarks, "That's an interesting choice." Now you could let that comment spoil your joy and doubt your outfit. Or you can remind yourself that their opinion is just one, and that it doesn't change the fact that you feel great. When you learn to let go of the need for approval, you have the freedom to live authentically and confidently, regardless of what others think. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "If you want to improve yourself, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This may sound harsh at first, but it is incredibly liberating. Growth often means going against the grain and doing things that others may not understand or appreciate. When you're constantly looking for recognition, you can end up holding back, playing it safe and not taking risks. But if you follow your own path, even if it is misunderstood, you can develop in unexpected ways. How to detach yourself from other people's opinions. Now that we've discovered why it's so important to stop depending on other people's opinions, here's how you can break free from their opinions. Question their importance. Next time you're bothered by other people's opinions, stop for a moment and ask yourself, why does this matter to me? What authority do they really have over my life? Do they genuinely care about your well-being, or are they simply offering a perspective based on their own experiences and biases? When you understand this, you can take your eyes off what others are saying and refocus on what really matters to you. Affirm your values. Anchor yourself in your own values and principles. What is important to you? What do you stand for? When you are clear about your own beliefs, you will find it easier to detach yourself from the opinions of others. Don't be guided by the expectations of those around you, but instead stay rooted in what you know is right for you. Practice letting go. When someone criticizes or judges you, acknowledge their words without holding on to them. Think of the criticism as a leaf flowing down a stream, for a moment, but not lasting. By not holding on to their judgments, you give yourself the freedom to move on without emotional baggage. As Lao Tzu wisely said, care about the approval of others, and you will be their prisoner. This doesn't mean you should ignore all feedback or isolate yourself from others, but it does mean you need to filter out the negativity that isn't conducive to your growth. Constructive criticism can help you improve, but unjustified judgments, it's the other's responsibility, not yours. Embrace your path. Think of detaching yourself from other people's opinions as protecting yourself from bad weather. The rain may fall, but it doesn't have to drench you. By focusing on your own inner compass, you can stay grounded no matter how others perceive you. The next time your confidence is shaken by someone else's words, stop and ask yourself, am I living for them, or am I living for myself? When you make the decision to let go of the need for validation, you regain your freedom. They protect your peace and create space to live a life that is truly yours, one that is not influenced by the fleeting opinions of others. Your path is yours alone, and it is far too important to be dictated by outside voices. So the next time you are criticized or judged, remember, you are enough just as you are. Your value is not defined by what others think of you, but by the way you present yourself, how you live authentically, and how you forge your own path. This is also important to understand. You're talking about a lot of time in the comfort and convenience zone, but you don't have to worry about that. But you won't hear anything. I am what can be. It is a sail. It is like a snake that has silence and can be heard when listening. She sometimes leaves you for days, months, and even years. Live as quickly as possible and do everything at once. This is a combination of solutions. The Stoic philosophers and modern psychology have found a way to get rid of this fear. I myself managed to heal this fear. There is an explanation video because it was written at the same time, and it is not the first comment. Click the link in the first comment and begin healing from that feeling of fear. 7. Respond with silence, not anger. The power of silence in the face of negativity. Picture this. You're in the middle of a heated argument. Someone says something intentionally hurtful or provocative, and you immediately feel anger rising within you. Your heart races, your face flushes, and all you can think about is giving the other person a sharp response. You feel like you have to defend yourself, don't you? But what if, in that moment, you chose not to respond at all? What if you just stayed silent? Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have, especially when dealing with negativity. It's not about avoiding confrontation or letting the other person get away with anything. Silence is a conscious decision to choose calm over chaos, peace over conflict. When you choose silence, you are not weak, but are showing strength by valuing your inner peace over the urge to retaliate. They send the message that the other person's words and actions no longer have the power to control your emotions. Think of it this way. The more you react to negativity, the more it seems to grow. But if you remain silent, the negative energy has nothing to feed on. It's like pouring water on a fire. It stops burning. Silence creates space between you and the anger and gives you the opportunity to remain in control of your feelings and reaction. Silence speaks volumes. It doesn't say, I don't have an answer, but rather, I'm not affected by your behavior. An example of silence in action. Let's imagine a situation where you are in a meeting at work. Someone is undermining you in front of your colleagues and maybe trying to make you look bad. At that moment, a feeling of frustration overcomes you, and your instinct may be to argue, point out the other person's mistakes, or justify yourself. You feel the heat rising inside you, and your mind races with thoughts of all the things you could say. But what if you chose silence instead? By remaining silent, you are denying them the response they were hoping for. They want to provoke you, upset you, and your silence takes away their power. Not only will this help you maintain your composure, but it will also show your colleagues that you are unfazed by their attempts to make you look bad. You remain steadfast in your composure, and in that moment, you show everyone around you who is truly in control. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "The best response to anger is silence. Anger thrives on a reaction. It feeds on it. When you stay silent, you starve the anger and break the cycle of negativity." Silence becomes your shield, blocking the insults and protecting your emotional well-being. How to practice silence in provocative situations. Below you will learn how to respond to provocations with silence. Pause before you react. If someone says something that triggers you, take a moment to breathe and pause before reacting. This small moment of silence creates space for clarity and prevents an impulsive reaction. You don't have to react immediately. By taking a moment to think, you can avoid saying something you might later regret. Listen without defending. Sometimes people just want to vent or express their frustration, and their words may have little to do with you. Instead of feeling the need to defend or argue, just listen. In this way, you give the other person the opportunity to make their voice heard and avoid reinforcing the negative mood. Remember that not every comment or criticism requires a response. Simply letting someone talk without interrupting can often diffuse a tense situation. Only speak when necessary. If you decide to answer, please express yourself calmly, clearly, and precisely. Choose your words carefully. A Buddhist teaching reminds us, speak only when it improves silence. If your words don't add any value to the situation or only add to the tension, silence may be a better choice. Speaking thoughtfully and with intention shows strength and wisdom. The wisdom of silence. Silence doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or ignoring the problem, but saving your energy for the moments that really matter. Think of all the times we've regretted something we said in the heat of the moment. Silence removes this regret. It gives you time to think and reassess the situation before saying anything. Sometimes silence says more than words ever could. It is a testament to your strength, your ability to remain calm, and your effort to maintain your peace. Next time someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself, will responding improve the situation? Will it help me grow, or will it just add fuel to the fire? In many cases, silence is the best way to keep your peace, stay in control, and rise above the negativity. Remember that remaining silent does not mean withdrawing or avoiding confrontation. It's about choosing your battles wisely and realizing that you don't have to engage in every conflict that comes your way. Silence is the presence of wisdom. It is the ability to rise above the noise and focus on what really matters. When you choose silence, you show that you are in control of your emotions and that other people's words cannot dictate your peace. This way, you win the battle without ever raising your voice. Pay attention. Practice gratitude to release anger. The transformative power of gratitude. Picture this. It's one of those days when everything seems to be going wrong. You wake up late, spill your coffee, forget an important appointment, and then someone makes a rude remark that hurts more than you expect. The slightest inconvenience feels unbearable, and frustration begins to bubble up within you. You ask yourself, why does everything have to be so difficult? In that moment, it's easy to focus on everything that's going wrong. The anger, disappointment, and stress can quickly spiral into feeling overwhelmed and losing control. But here's an idea. How about you stop focusing on everything that's going wrong and instead focus your attention on what's going right? Gratitude has the power to change your entire perspective. It's like a mental reset button. When you stop and look for something to be grateful for, you take yourself out of the cycle of negativity. You begin to see the good things in your life, things that you may have overlooked in the hustle and bustle of the day. The truth is, you can't be grateful and angry at the same time. Gratitude replaces anger with calmness and gives you the emotional space to breathe deeply and regenerate. A simple example of gratitude in action. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you're stuck in a traffic jam and late for an important appointment. Your frustration grows as the minutes pass, and you feel helpless because the cars in front of you don't seem to be moving. You could let your anger out, ruin your mood, and possibly make the rest of your day even more difficult. But what if, instead of focusing on the frustrating situation, you took a moment to change your perspective? Take a deep breath and think of 3 things you are grateful for. Maybe you're grateful that you have a car, for the opportunity you're heading towards, or even for the music that's playing on the radio. It may seem like a small thing, but even this tiny change in focus can change your emotional state. You may not be able to control the traffic, but you can control how you respond to it. By focusing on gratitude, you can let go of frustration and replace it with a feeling of peace. The Roman philosopher Cicero once said, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of all virtues, but also the mother of all others." Gratitude not only makes you feel better in the moment, it builds your resilience, encourages patience, and helps you focus on what is truly important. It is a tool you can use anytime, anywhere, to maintain your peace and prevent negativity from taking over your life. Make gratitude a daily habit. Gratitude isn't just a one-time fix for a bad day. It's something you can incorporate into your daily life to protect your emotional well-being. Here's how to make gratitude a habit. Pause and think. When anger arises, take a moment to stop and breathe. In this moment, ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this moment? Maybe it's the fact that you have a roof over your head or the love of your family. Whatever it is, find something that takes your attention away from the frustration. Keep a gratitude journal. At the end of each day, write down 3 things that went well, no matter how small they seem. Maybe you had a delicious cup of coffee or had a nice conversation with a friend. With this simple exercise, you'll train your brain to look for the positive in every day, even when things aren't perfect. Over time, you'll find that gratitude becomes second nature and helps you stay grounded and positive no matter what comes your way. Use gratitude as a realignment. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes those challenges can feel overwhelming. But gratitude is a tool you can use to transform difficult situations. When faced with a problem, think about what you can learn from it or how it could be worse. For example, imagine someone persistently criticizes you. Instead of letting this criticism upset you, try reframing it. I'm grateful for the chance to learn from this feedback, even if it wasn't meant kindly. This doesn't excuse the other person's behavior, but it does keep you in control of your emotions and turns the situation into an opportunity for growth. As the Buddha wisely said, let us arise and be grateful. Because if we didn't learn much today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be grateful. This perspective reminds us that no matter what happens, there is always something to be grateful for. Shifting the focus from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring your frustrations. It's about shifting the focus from what's missing to what's there. Life is full of challenges and obstacles, but there is always something positive you can find, even in the most difficult moments. The next time you feel anger creeping in or frustration rising, stop and ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this moment? When you make this simple change, you will find that gratitude not only dissolves anger, but replaces it with a sense of calm, clarity, and control. It reminds you that peace is not something you find outside of yourself. It is something you create from within. Gratitude helps you realize that there is still something beautiful to discover, even on difficult days. It is a powerful tool for building resilience and maintaining inner peace. Best of all, the more you practice gratitude, the easier it will be for you to see the good, even when life feels difficult. So next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, remember, you can always find something to be grateful for. And in these moments, you will find that peace and gratitude go hand in hand. 9. View criticism as a tool for growth. See criticism as a path to growth. Picture this. You've just pitched an idea that you're really proud of, whether at work, with friends, or online. They are confident, enthusiastic, and look forward to positive feedback. But instead of praise, it is immediately shot down with harsh criticism. Your heart sinks and your first instinct is to defend yourself. You may even feel a twinge of anger rising within you. It's completely normal to feel this way when your efforts are met with negative feedback. Nobody likes to be criticized, especially when they've worked hard on something. But what if, instead of responding with frustration, you could reframe that criticism? What if you looked at them not as an attack on your skills or ideas, but as an opportunity to grow and improve. Criticism, no matter how it is delivered, has value if you are willing to look for it. At its core, criticism is simply feedback. It can reveal blind spots you didn't notice, challenge your thinking, or push you to be better than before. By changing your perspective, you can transform criticism from a source of frustration into a powerful self-improvement tool. Turn criticism into a learning opportunity. Let's explain this with a simple example. Imagine you are preparing a presentation for work, and a colleague points out several errors in your slides or content. Your first reaction might be to dismiss the feedback and think, "They're just trying to make me look bad," or "They don't understand my vision." But what if instead of just dismissing it, you stop and ask yourself, is there any truth to what they are saying? How can I use this feedback to improve my presentation? By choosing to reflect rather than react, you turn what might feel like a harsh criticism into a valuable step forward. Look at it this way. Criticism, if approached with the right attitude, is like rain. It should be gentle enough to encourage growth without drowning you. The key is to realize that not all criticism is meant to hurt you. Some feedback may come from genuine concern or a desire to help. It's important to filter out the noise, the feedback that is malicious, ignorant, or unhelpful, and focus on the constructive elements that can help you improve. A quote that expresses this beautifully is, "Criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish growth without destroying the roots." This reminds us that criticism, like rain, can help us grow if given thoughtfully and received with an open mind. Practical tips for dealing with criticism with dignity. Now that we know how valuable criticism can be, how do we handle it gracefully when it comes our way? Here are a few simple steps to help you deal with criticism without letting it throw you off balance. Pause before reacting. The first step is to take a moment to breathe. If you hear something critical, you should not react to it immediately. Taking a break can help your emotions calm down and avoid an impulsive reaction. It's okay to feel angry, but you don't have to act on those feelings right away. A few deep breaths can help you approach the situation with a clear mind. Evaluate the source. Think about where the criticism comes from. Does the person providing the feedback have your best interest in mind? Does she have experience in the area she is commenting on? Sometimes the criticism comes from people who are not fully informed or who are motivated by their own insecurities. It is important to evaluate the source before taking their words to heart. Find the lesson. Even if the criticism isn't delivered in the kindest or most helpful way, you can often learn something valuable from it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this feedback? Maybe it will bring something to light that you hadn't thought of before, or show you areas where you can improve. Criticism, even when harsh, often contains a lesson that can make you stronger. Respond to personal criticism with maturity. Criticism doesn't just happen in a professional environment. It can also come from friends or family. Imagine a family member makes a critical comment about your career choice or the way you live your life. Your first reaction might be to argue, defend yourself, or exclude the person. But what if you could react differently? Instead of becoming defensive, you could simply say, "I hear your concerns. I will think about what you said." This response is calm and mature and shows that you are willing to think without letting the criticism turn into an argument. It also gives you time to process the feedback and consider whether there is any truth to it. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus offers timeless wisdom for dealing with criticism. If someone tells you that a certain person is speaking poorly about you, do not apologize for what is being said about you, but instead respond, "He does not know my other faults. Otherwise he would not have mentioned only these." This admonition teaches us not to take criticism personally. Instead of reacting defensively, we can take a step back and view criticism as part of our journey to self-improvement. Not every critical comment is about you. It often says more about the person saying it than about you. Criticism as a mirror, reflecting on self-improvement. At its best, criticism is a mirror that helps us see ourselves more clearly. It's not always easy to accept them, but growth is rare. Learning to accept feedback even when it hurts will build your resilience and confidence. The next time someone criticizes you, stop and ask yourself, what can I learn from this feedback? Is this criticism about me, or does it say more about the person making it? When you reframe criticism in this way, it becomes less about defending yourself and more about growing as a person. The philosopher Lao reminds us, knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom. When you learn to accept criticism with grace, you will gain deeper insight into your strengths and weaknesses, and ultimately become a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Criticism is not an obstacle, it is a stepping stone. If you embrace it with the right attitude, you transform discomfort into an opportunity to grow, learn, and improve. Next time you're faced with criticism, remember, growth is often hidden in discomfort, and those who embrace it develop a strength that no criticism can ever take away. 10. Master the art of letting go. The power of letting go. Imagine this. You are holding a hot coal with the intention of throwing it at someone who hurt you. You wait for the right moment, but with every second, the coal burns your hand more and more. The pain is intense, and yet it doesn't even hit the person you're trying to target. Anger, resentment, and resentment work in the same way. The longer you hold on to them, the more they harm you, rather than the person who caused the pain. The true strength lies not in holding on to the burning coal, but in the decision to let it go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or condoning what happened. It means letting go of the emotional burden that has been dragging you down. It's about freeing yourself from the shackles of the past so you can regain your peace, energy, and focus on the present. The Buddha said it well, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Think about a time when someone wronged you. Maybe it was a betrayal, an unfair judgment, or simply a hurtful comment. How much time did you spend replaying that moment in your mind? How much energy have you wasted imagining confrontations or seeking revenge? If you hold on to your anger, you will only remain trapped in that painful memory. Letting go is the antidote. It allows you to move forward instead of being stuck in the past. The freedom of letting go. Let's translate this into a more practical situation. Imagine you're at work and a colleague takes credit for your brilliant idea. You could ruminate about this injustice for days, allowing it to affect your mood, your work, and even your relationships with others. You may feel anger, frustration, and resentment building up, but you can also choose to let the matter go. Letting go means recognizing that your worth is not tied to this one moment of recognition. Your abilities, your potential, and your future are much bigger than any single incident. When you choose to let go, you keep your peace and focus on what really matters: your growth, your future opportunities, and your happiness. Lao Tzu, a wise philosopher, once said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I could be." This quote reflects the deeper truth about letting go. It's not just about letting go of anger or resentment. It's also about letting go of the need for perfection, the fear of failure, and the constant need to control every aspect of one's life. Letting go is about accepting life as it is, embracing its unpredictability, and finding the freedom to surrender to the flow of the present moment. Practical ways to practice letting go. So how can you start practicing the art of letting go in your daily life? Here are some simple steps to guide you. Acknowledge your feelings. The first step to letting go is allowing yourself to feel. If you suppress your feelings, they will only become stronger. It's okay to feel hurt, angry, or disappointed. These feelings are natural and part of the human experience. Allow yourself to feel them without judging them, and then choose to let them go. Acknowledge the pain, but don't let it define you. Change the situation. If you are faced with a situation that is causing you pain, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Instead of focusing on what went wrong, think about how you can grow from it. How can this experience make you stronger? Reframing the situation allows you to look at it from a new perspective that focuses on growth rather than victimhood. Focus on the present. Letting go is a gift you give yourself. It's not about doing something for someone else, but about freeing your own mind and heart. Focus your attention on the here and now. When you focus on the present, you are no longer trapped in the past. Think of letting go like letting go of a balloon. The longer you hold it, the more it strains your hand. But when you let it go, you feel lighter and freer. Life then becomes less about what happened and more about what is possible now. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "Do not be troubled by what is not in your power. Let it go and you will find peace." This does not mean ignoring injustice or allowing injustice to pass over you. It means choosing where to direct your energy. By letting go of what you can't change, you make room for what you can control. The things that matter most to you. The strength of letting go. Next time you feel yourself clinging to anger, resentment, or regret, stop and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? What would my life look like if I let it go? The answer will likely point you on the path to emotional freedom. True strength lies not in holding on to negative emotions, but in knowing when to let them go. When you let go, you feel lighter, more peaceful, and more in control of your life. The process of letting go is not always easy, but it is powerful. As you practice this art, you will find that the more you let go, the stronger you become. Every time you choose peace over anger and acceptance over resistance, you get one step closer to living a life of emotional freedom. Mastering your emotions. A journey of growth. Now that you know these powerful lessons, it's time to put them into practice. These aren't just ideas, they're tools you can use every day. Practice pausing before reacting, setting boundaries to protect your energy, and letting go of what you can't control. Every time you choose peace over anger, you get one step closer to the unshakable life you deserve. If you like these ideas, don't keep them to yourself. Share it with someone who may need a little more calm in their life. And if you have your own tips or experiences on how to stay calm, I'd love to hear them. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Remember, emotional freedom is not a goal, it is a practice, so continue to be there for yourself. Stay mindful, stay grounded, and grow stronger every day. The power to live a peaceful, centered life lies within you. Until next time, take care and don't let anyone bother you.